Well, hey, welcome back to the Amanda Kaufman Show. Kyree Oliver, what a pleasure.
Oh,
Thanks for
good to be
joining
here.
me.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Oh my gosh. So, this is such a special episode because we're sitting here in a hotel lobby, getting to meet in person at an event. Do you want to take like 30 seconds and tell us a little bit about your background, what it is you do?
Gosh, that's always a hard one. So I'm an ex-Division One football player. I started a marketing company and team. I only started that marketing company to give me credibility when I came to coaching. I knew I wanted to help people. I didn't know how. I didn't know what it was going to look like. I was 19, 20 at the time. Uh, and I knew I needed real life credibility in order for people with money to trust me enough to help them with their personal lives. So I figured I would help them with their businesses first and figure out a good skill to help them with their businesses. In the meantime, I was building my company. I was interviewing. I interviewed over 1,000 people, from monks to billionaires to any type of person you could probably think of. I've interviewed somebody of that type. And I was just obsessed with why we are the way we are, what creates our identity, that leads to our beliefs, our habits, our behaviors, everything underlying. And then when I was 24, I actually said I wouldn't start coaching until I was 30. Luckily, I started very early. Started at 24 years old, mostly just coaching young guys, and still typically work with younger guys. And I just turned 31. Most of my guys are between 20 and 35, but I have 46-year-old woman who works with me right now. I've got a 53-year-old man who works with me right now. Uh, Mostly entrepreneurs, but some more like blue to white collar people work with me as well. And I just help them figure out the stuff that goes on in their heads. I help them change the internal conversations they're having that nobody else is privy to.
Love that. I love how you put that. And you knew so young. Like, I'm thinking, what was I doing at 19? Definitely not playing football. For sure, not aware yet of the personal development world or mindset. I walked a very different path to kind of get to the same place where I'm obsessed with psychology and the philosophy and applying that in your life,
Yeah.
so that you can make better decisions and live in your highest potential and in your highest character as well along the way. So I'm just so curious, like 19, like was there an inflection point or a moment that told you like, wow, I want to have that role in people's lives?
Yeah, well, it was first for myself. It was a selfish thing first. I was trying to figure out who I was, right? I'm done playing football. I was thinking about quitting playing football. I'm no longer going to be an NFL player. And that's the only thing I'd ever thought of being. And so then who am I now? And I went through this whole thankfully early identity crisis. I thought it was the worst thing in the world. And then I started seeing the people in their 30s, 40s, 50s going through their own identity crises. And I realized how much of a blessing it was to be going through it before I have a career, family, kids, a wife, anything like that. So I just chose to here, let me just jump in and embrace this version of it. And I don't know what it looks like. I don't know how I help people. I know I'm supposed to help. I know this is something I'm built for. I don't know exactly what it looks like. And I kind of have just painted in the details along the way.
I have the pleasure of getting to meet you I was in the mastermind and we kind of met in the same place and sort of had similar circles, but I was impressed right away with I would say you do have a very like calming philosopher vibe. Yeah, just like the way you talk about the decisions that people make. I'm so curious, like when you decided to activate at 24, like embrace it. I'm going to be the coach. I'm going to do it now.
Yeah.
Um, what what caused you to decide to do it a little earlier than you thought?
Somebody I talked to, he said, you're every year, every month, every day, every hour you're not doing this, you're robbing yourself and other people of some sort of magic, of something they're supposed to have that they're otherwise not going to have because you thought it was too soon. And basically just saying, let the market decide if you're too soon, right? When people aren't going to hire you if you're too early. I've always had this thing of I'm too young. Even in my marketing company, I didn't tell people how old I was. All I led with was my results. Here's what I've done for other people. I'd love to do it for you as well. If I told them I was 20 or 21, I even had people find out later how old I was and be like, oh, thank you for not telling me. I would have never hired a kid to do this for me. And so I think I just had that in my mind and it just helped me drop that. Like you're actually robbing people of something by not doing this. It felt more like a positive obligation. I don't say obligation like it's a negative thing, but it felt like who am I to not think?
I really love that. How often are we the first person to discount ourselves from what we can do? And like even just this show, I had the pleasure of getting to work with Tom Bilyeu earlier this year.
Gotcha.
It was insane. I went to his house and I was just like, what is this planet I find myself on? It was such a tremendous honor. And he asked me like what I was working on, what was going on, and I referred to my show as my little show. I said, never do that again. It was the most direct, curt thing ever, and I was like honestly shocked by it. But it changed everything because when I was like, no, this is my show. Yeah. My name is on it. It's my show. It's not defined by the number of downloads. It's not defined by episodes. It's not defined by, current production quality and all these things that I was discounting self and my own creation. It's not my little show. It's the Amanda Kaufman show.
Yeah, at that point, you're not allowing it to be what it is, right? Making it be something smaller. And then when you drop that, because sometimes you won't drop that until you have what, millions of downloads, and then you'll be able to talk about it as a show, not a full show. You increase the on that. I just allow things. Yeah, let it be what it is.
Let it be what it is. Yeah, I love that so much. Talk to me a little bit about your philosophy as a coach. Like, what do you really try to do with somebody? Like, what makes you unique as a coach? What do you think is your angle?
I don't think I have an option because I don't. I didn't learn coaching. I learned psychology. I learned philosophy. Again, how I tick, and then I learned how other people tick and why we do the things we do. I didn't learn how to coach. Coaching was the natural progression of. I just understand a lot of these things, and I don't think most people understand that. While I don't have the life experience, or my life experience is happening at the same time as I'm growing, I'm helping other people grow. I think I just have my finger on the pulse of people really well. And so I think the uniqueness is in the closeness I continue having with us as people. I still do volunteer work. I still work with youth. I still work with businesses of all sizes. I hang out with billionaires as well. A few of my clients are like selling their companies for multiple nine figures right now. But again, I work with startup entrepreneurs and I work with teenagers. And I just have my pulse on so many different types of people. I'm constantly feeding this knowledge base, let's say, in my own head of why we are the way we are. So when people say they want to be something, I find that most people don't know who they currently are, and they haven't articulated it to themselves, and they haven't really searched and dug for that. So that's where everybody starts. I start everybody off with, I call it my identity. My nexus session. Nexus is a connection between 2 points. Help you identify who your current self is. I have you connect that to your future self. And I just help you walk down that path, or I help you create a bridge between the two and literally communicate with your future self. Because what people start realizing during that process is if I'm able to say this to myself as me in 20 years, it must already be in here. I must already have access to it. I just haven't given myself access to it. Just like we talk about with your little show. Keep calling your little show, it'll never just be your show. And whatever size it is. And so I want people to be able to articulate who they are, who they're trying to become. But when they're pulling from that future self to their current self, they're actually gaining some sort of access. They're actually like, folding space time kind of thing. I don't do the whole quantum. This is actually a quantum person right over here. My friend Shamita Taylor. But I help people kind of do that, bridge that gap for themselves. So here's who you are, here's where you're looking. You can actually shorten that gap quite a bit. You just never sat down and really dug into who this person is like.
So good. As I'm thinking about the phrase know thyself, I really believe know thyself is an ongoing activity for life. Yeah. That's what you're always doing. Right. Daily practice, exactly. Coaching and the role of coaching on this pedestal. Now, I myself, I have a few certifications, and it was so funny because, like you, I love to read. I'm studious, so I was reading, psychology and sociology and philosophy and like all these kinds of things, and I still didn't feel good enough. Yeah. To call myself a coach. I didn't think it was seriously. It's kind of like the same thing you went through when you're 24. What if they don't take you seriously?
And it's this analogous. It doesn't actually exist today. Nobody's actually ever told me that.
Who's the they?
Nobody said it yet.
Yes. What would you say to someone who they feel that their future identity is to play that role of coach, of that person? Yeah. What do you think really matters to pursuing that path?
I think not playing a role is the first one. I think most coaches are playing a role. And this is where I get sticky with most coaches. They're good, this is why I don't allow myself to be called a mindset coach. If somebody calls me a mindset coach, I'll correct them. I don't call myself a mindset coach. I think mindset coaches are filling a role. They're telling you how to think about something that they don't necessarily currently think about. I lead by example. I have my clients over to my house, my clients meet their children, my clients meet my wife. My clients come to my poker night on Wednesdays and they meet the old guys that I hang out with and tell raunchy jokes with. They have been doing, again, the billionaires' houses that I hang out with in Scottsdale. They are immersed in my life in some way because I need to show people this is actually what it looks like. This isn't a show. This isn't the role that I'm playing. This is who I actually am. And it's also not like this big, giant, glamorous thing either. It's not this fictitious world that we've created. This is a realistic version of me that I just get to live out throughout my life. But it's something I started planning 12, 13 years ago. So one, I think is the biggest thing is stop trying to play a role, stop trying to be too smart, stop trying to get all the accolades under your belt before you get it. Have to actually become the person. Or the type of clients everybody's looking for will absolutely completely run away from. And that's what I find with a lot of coaches. So a lot of people are trying to fill a role. Their actual ideal clients stay far, far away from that. And they typically can't even tell them why they didn't hire them, why that sales call didn't work out. It was a feeling. It was something was off, or something didn't connect, or something didn't feel there. Whereas when I talk to people constantly, I just get it. You're the person I thought, or you're a better version of what I thought you were. Saying some things online, some people don't like, and then I'm spectacular in person. And so when you can tell for genuine, just get a lot more genuine. So my advice would be actually step into being the person, stop trying to play a role, and think that you'll gamify coaching to become successful long term.
I do not expect you to remember this, but a couple of years ago when we met, I said that you have a certain gravity. And I think that that's what it is. I don't agree with you with some of the things that you said. Just like I said that to you like 2 years ago, and you're like, amazing.
I don't know, that was our first conversation.
We can have that conversation. I'm like, amazing. Okay. My experience of you is that you are incredibly intelligent and you're so respectful. You're like perspective shift. And I love what you're saying about, embodying, not playing the character, but actually embodying character.
Yeah.
Not the character, but character. What are those characters?
Yeah.
I love that. And, speaking as the coach that went says, I'm not good enough until I get this certification. And actually, that certification is a little woo. Let me go get the science fact certification. I was chasing something, I think, that is congruent in terms of a love understanding. And, I love that. But when I realized that the certification was essentially it's a book, more information, but that's the way that I would from a book. It was just a different kind of experience. Yeah. It didn't necessarily qualify me more to have the kinds of relationships that a coach needs to have. Coach, at the end of the day, in my opinion, it's a relationship.
That's all it is.
That's all it is. Yeah. That's so cool.
I don't work with people I wouldn't invite over to my house. Why invite them over to my house? They get to come see it because if I didn't feel comfortable with you in that way, I just didn't work with you in the first place. I think for a lot of people in the kind of trying to fill a role thing that most people do, again, I think they're looking for permission that nobody else will give them, which is the problem. And I think this is why people get overqualified for something. They'll become overqualified and they'll be ineffectual actually with clients. Looking for a permission slip that nobody else can give. You have to give yourself that. But you can only give yourself that when you're comfortable with this coaching. And I think a lot of coaches use their clients as their own therapy, where they try to tell the client what they need to hear. But just genuinely, it's not about when I'm in a coaching session, it's not about don't need anything. I'm then open to overflowing my own cup to give the extra. I give the extra. I'm going to hear first. I think that's a hard thing for coaches to do because at the end of the day, you are making revenue, you are generating business from it. And so it's hard to kind of separate those two sometimes. But it has to just be facts. It has to be because this is who I am. I couldn't not. That's the only reason it works. Thinking about somebody that's listening into the show right now, and they're hearing us talk about this, and they're like, yeah. And you're getting the checklist of what to do. But I'm also thinking about that metaphor of reading the books on how to swim, versus getting in the water swimming. When I started my business, I've had 8 names on a post-it of people that I felt vulnerable enough to reveal that I think I want to do this coaching business. And I had contacts on LinkedIn, and I had a small Facebook account at the time, but I didn't feel the ability yet to have vulnerability
with people in a broader sense than those 8. So that's where I started. I just helped those 8 people. And that was it. And it was so funny because like one of the first guys that I did a complimentary session with was like, this is amazing. Can I ask you a question? I have this friend Bob. Bob's like going through a thing, thinking about changing his job. And it literally until that point hadn't occurred to me that even though I had a really small network that I felt vulnerable with, other people their network. Your network has a network. And your network has a network. And I feel so blessed and it's like it feels like serendipity still with everything that I've learned since then. Yeah. To just like get that gift of somebody saying like, hey, I introduce you. And it wasn't, can I introduce you because you have certain letters after your name? Can I introduce you because you've impressed me with this particular exercise we did? It was just, wow, I felt like this was really good. Like, introduce you. Yeah. That was it.
My business is still mostly referral based. I mean, it's organic because I post a lot of content, but most of it is friend of a friend. A client of mine had mentioned me to somebody else. I just set up a meeting right before we sat down with somebody who's friends of a former client of mine. It's actually his ex-girlfriend, a good friend of mine who's also a coach. They've been traveling. Friend mentioned me and was like, dude, I said, I reached out to Kyree when I was having issues with this. You should reach out to him. And those are the types of connections that just happen pretty constantly. And it's only when you're actually serving, again, the right people in the right way that they are willing to even make someone else. Because for a lot of people, it's embarrassing to talk about having a church. Not so much in our world, like in the online business, marketing, personal
It's more accepted here.
Way more accepted here. It's almost like saying you have therapists for a lot of people. But when you just serve at that level and then their network notices the changes in them, they can't help but say, yes, I did the work. Yes, I've done this, but this guy helped me quite a bit, or this woman helped me quite a bit. And I think that's how it grows. It's supposed to grow.
I think I totally agree. And I have a very similar experience with that. I am very curious on the business side of building a coaching business. What did you find the most surprising along the way? What turned out different than you thought?
About building, actually, how much you can do with so little. Like, I don't have infrastructure in my business. I'm actually building it right now. At this event, I'm back and forth with my team on like building my first actual funnel and building like my ManyChat automations. I didn't know I could go this far without doing it. I thought genuinely like, I'll make $10,000 or $12,000 a month doing this, and then I'll have to build systems in order to get it. And I've been now, 7 years in, almost 8 years in, and I'm just now setting up the sequences. And out of convenience, really, it's just okay. It's time, and I want to make what I do with what I say more valuable to more people that can't afford to work with me personally. So I just might as well do it. It's not a necessity. It's not I have to do this to make my business survive. So how far you can go with literally nothing else other than your words and your ability to impact other people.
My motto is do what matters. And it's so funny because it has to be my motto because I have to remind myself to do it because I'm very curious and I want to do everything and I can be a bit of a tornado. And it's so funny because we're at the same event and I'm just cutting away. I'm like stripping it all away because I think there's a notion in our space that you're not good enough unless you have all these systems and you're doing these big guru events and everything. And it's like, well, what's the business you're building? There's nothing wrong with becoming a guru, in my opinion. But what's the business that you're building and what's the leverage that you have right now? And I hope, dear listener, you just heard him say he's been doing this and very happy with the revenue for 7 years before even thinking about doing a funnel.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so good. That's so good. If you had the opportunity to whisper one piece of advice into a serious, authentic, character-driven coach, like whisper into their ear, what would you say to them?
Authentic, character-driven coach. You, almost all, you have to talk more about what you actually do. I think people shy away, and I'm specifically harping on the character-driven coach. Because again, it's not the vanity coach, it's not the guru online, it's the person who's like genuinely, I'm here to serve. I feel like they have a really hard time talking about what they actually do for people or being able to share, not necessarily private information about the clients, but like what changes their health. And that's the only way other people hear about you. Like you have to have eyeballs on what you're doing, or else, again, you're robbing people by not getting your voice, your name, out there as much as you can. That still feels authentic to you, right? It's not needing to go viral with everything that you're posting or needing to be oppositional or confrontational just so that, more comments, more whatever, but being willing to just please.
Ooh, be willing to be seen. I love that. Kyree, how can people follow you, catch up with you? What's the best way to do that?
Instagram or Facebook. So Instagram is just at Kyree, Kyr. Facebook, I don't know the link.
We'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah, so I'll send it to you. Which is Kyree Oliver. I'm the big brown guy with tattoos that pops up.
I love it. I love it. Is there anything else you'd like to share before we wrap it up?
No, good. Thank you for this.
Amazing. This was a wonderful conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, dear listener, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure you grab a link to this episode. Share it with at least 3 of your coaching friends. They really need to hear that the best version of their coaching business is them showing up as their best version of themselves. And if you really loved this, Kyree did an amazing job. Go ahead and leave us an authentic review. And those 5-star reviews, they help people choose us when they're out for a walk. But we really appreciate it. We'll see you the next time. No matter.